Just like everyone else in the world, I've been loving Encanto. This movie connects to me in multiple ways, and to put it out there, I'm Latina. The music is a bop, the story is beautiful, and the animation is gorgeous. This movie instantly became my second favorite movie.
Don't worry, you'll get your turn after this one.
This video is the first of a series on my channel called A Hero's Road Trip, where I analyze the hero's journey of a certain character. If you don't know what the hero's journey is, it's a narrative template of a hero's adventure in a story. Not every story follows the hero's journey, but it's still a literary and narrative device. Overly Sarcastic Productions has a video explaining the hero's journey in more detail. If you're interested, you can go check that out, and the version they talk about in that video is the one I'll be using in this series. Even if the character I talk about doesn't go through all of the hero's journey steps, I'm still gonna go through the ones they do. I racked my brain for a bit thinking about who I'd like to talk about for my first video, but then it hit me. Me and everyone else in the world have been watching Encanto 10 times a day, and the main character ticks most of the boxes off. So let's talk about Mirabel. By the way, when it comes to Disney princesses, Ariel and Rapunzel are my favorites. I relate to them, but not on a deep personal level. I connect more to Mirabel. And to be fair, given the story, I'm sure most people relate to Mirabel or any other character in one way or another. So grab some arepas and your emotional support object, and let's explore the hero's journey of Mirabel Madrigal. Ordinary world. This is where we see the everyday life and home of our hero. What's their world like? Who are their friends and family? How do they feel about this world? At this point, the hero is unaware that their life would change forever. Mirabel is part of the magical Madrigal family, where each member is blessed with a magical gift used to help their town. The only catch is
Mirabel didn't get one.
Despite this, Mirabel still tries to tell herself that she's just as special as everyone else in her family.
You know, the family who can lift 100 times their own weight, listen to all the town gossip, heal your dislocated spine, regrow the Amazon forest, see the future, flood 1,000 villages, know the truth of what your pet thinks about you, and is FBI Agent of the Year.
Your gift is being in denial.
Even her own family tries to help her feel better about being the only one without a gift. But of course, she keeps saying that she's fine, lying to herself. Mirabel doesn't finally admit how she feels to herself until her younger cousin Antonio's ceremony, where he gets the gift to talk to animals. She just doesn't feel as special as the rest of her family, and she just wants the chance to prove that she is, gift or no gift. Mirabel's family can sometimes make her feel like she's not special, whether more on the nose,
A little sisterly advice. If you weren't always trying too hard, you wouldn't be in the way.
or more indirectly.
A gift just as special as you.
Either way, she's not having a good time. Call to adventure. Here, the hero is given the opportunity to go on an adventure. Here they can be motivated by a threat and are sometimes even reluctant to go. Either way, it's adventure time, baby. During Antonio's gift ceremony, Mirabel notices that their magical house casita was cracking, starting to fall apart. That only meant that the magic was in danger, as seen by the flickering magic glowing doors. But when she tried to show everyone what was going on...
Okay, but if you were anyone else in this situation, you wouldn't believe her either.
That night, Mirabel sneaks up to Abuela's bedroom window and overhears her talking to her late husband Pedro, which confirms that there is, in fact, something going on with the magic. Crossing the threshold. The hero leaves the world they've always known into the unknown, ready for their adventure. Sorry, that was lame. But you know what I mean. Mirabel makes it her mission to find out what's going on with the magic, while also getting the chance to prove herself to her family. But she doesn't really know where to start.
Yeah, there isn't much else to say about this step, let's just move on.
Realm of Adventure / Road of Trials. This is where the adventure happens. The hero creating allies, enemies, and or gathering artifacts along the way, while also being tested. Okay, so Road of Trials is technically stage 6, but it makes more sense that this stage is with stage 4, just roll with it. Mirabel decides to start asking Dolores if she knows anything, since she hears everything, who says she should talk to Luisa. When she tries, Luisa tries to push her away as she gathers the donkeys.
Nothing. Just got a lot of chores, so maybe you should just go home.
Lisa, my house is leaning to the...
Krill, was that you?
But it doesn't take more than 30 seconds of Luisa saying she feels nothing before admitting she feels something. She feels like if she's not helping anyone, she's useless and that she's carrying a lot, both physically and emotionally. Okay, before I saw this movie, I saw in my timeline people saying that surface pressure slapped harder than it should, and I believed them. But it was a different thing for me to sit in theaters taking in these lyrics. Does this song want me to cry or dance? What the hell? Luisa tells Mirabel that she should look in their estranged uncle's room, who had a vision about the miracle before he disappeared. So, Mirabel sneaks in, finds the broken pieces of the vision, destroys the tower, and books it out of there. She also finds herself more curious about her Uncle Bruno, who everyone says is just the worst. As much as We Don't Talk About Bruno is the best song in the movie, the people in the town are just shooting the messenger of bad news. Mirabel puts together the vision she found and, well, yeah, not so great. That night, Mirabel's older sister, Isabella, who has flower power, was gonna be engaged to this absolute sweetheart, Mariano. Voiced by Maluma, by the way.
They had someone like Maluma on staff and he didn't even get his own song.
That night was the proposal, and it was supposed to go perfectly, but with one setback. So the proposal dinner happens, and because Dolores can't keep her freaking mouth shut, just pure chaos. Oh, and everyone knows about the vision, and Mirabel may or may not have something to do with the magic fading. After chasing a rat with a piece of the vision, Mirabel runs into Bruno! After chatting, Mirabel learns the truth about Bruno's disappearance. After Mirabel didn't get a gift, Abuela asked Bruno to look into the future to find out what it meant. So he did, and he saw a vision that, unlike the others, wasn't really set in stone. But everyone only saw the worst in him, and Bruno didn't feel like he was really helping anyone. So he hid in the walls, patching the cracks of the house. At first I thought that Bruno did something that made him leave, or some kind of misunderstanding. But Bruno didn't really do anything. People were just shooting the messenger of bad news, and he left because he felt like it was best for his family since everyone made it out as though he wasn't helping anyone. But even after he left, he didn't really leave. Bruno still loved his family, so he stayed and patched up the cracks, which I guess hints that the cracks have been happening for a while. Well, Bruno apologizes that there isn't really anything he could do about the vision, but then...
Jeez, Mirabel, the door wasn't even locked. You could have just opened the door fast.
Bruno isn't so sure about having another vision, but after some convincing, he decides to do it. So, like Bruno's last vision, the events of this one isn't set in stone. Well, they are, but it's all out of order. But the part of the vision that sticks out is when Mirabel seems to be hugging someone, which makes the candle burn brighter. But she's not so thrilled when she sees who she has to hug.
Isabella!
So, Mirabel promises to bring Bruno home when all of it's over, and has no choice but to suck it up and try to kiss and make up with Isabella. Okay, this is gonna sound like a hot take, but I have some issues with Isabella. She's mean to Mirabel for no reason, literally for just existing. But this scene really bothers me the most about her. She really makes Mirabel apologize for, quote, ruining her life. What did she do other than the whole proposal thing? I don't get it. I mean, I can level with her a little and say, yeah, I can imagine it can be tiring to be perfect all the time, which is why she got insulted when Mirabel called her selfish, but she accused Mirabel of messing up her life. Again, what did she do? Why are you so mean? But anyway, Isabella admits that she didn't want to marry Mariano and was just doing it for the family, which makes her spread a little cactus. Isabella admits that she doesn't want to have to be perfect all the time, and even gets to experiment with her powers, stuff that she didn't even know she could do. But then... this movie shows Abuela running a super tight ship with the magic and the family, and is especially strict with Mirabel since she doesn't have a gift. She then scolds Mirabel and blames her for everything that's happened, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. After watching the movie a few times, you can't deny that both Abuela and Mirabel said hurtful things to each other. Most notably that none of them cared and were hurting the family. Whether or not it was true, it still hurts. Which leads us to Belly of the Whale. This is the hero's absolute lowest point. They're in the literal or metaphorical abyss before they conquer their inner demons. The candle went out and Casita fell apart, and the magic is gone. Basically, everything Mirabel was trying to prevent happening ended up happening. Unable to deal with the pain of everything that just happened, Mirabel runs away to the river near the mountains of the Encanto. It isn't until the next morning when Abuela found her where they have a little chat about what just happened. In the very beginning of the movie, we see a little bit of Abuela's backstory, that her town had to escape the area during what was most likely an era of Colombian history. However, her husband Pedro was lost during the escape. When you first see this scene, you just think to yourself, huh, that's sad. But we see the same scene again, this time with more emotional depth. I just want to say, whoever animated this scene, I hate you. How dare you make this scene so full of pain and emotion that it makes me cry every time I watch it.
Anyway, that's not the point.
Abuela was given a second chance with a new home. Along with having a whole town and 3 newborns to look out for, she didn't want to lose her home again. She was so afraid of losing her home again that she built this expectation that everyone had to use their powers to help the town and to be perfect. And in doing so, the family defined themselves by their gifts, losing sight in who the gifts were for in the first place. Knowing the truth, Mirabel and Abuela make up and reconcile, even reconnecting with Bruno. I love how when Bruno showed up in this scene, he had this whole speech ready to defend Mirabel and himself, but it doesn't matter anyway. Okay, so in the hero's journey, there's normally the pre-showdown breather and the climax. While there is technically a climax in this movie, that's not in Mirabel's hero's journey. So that jumps us to return. When the hero returns home at the end of the story, Mirabel and Abuela return home with their newfound epiphany, apologies, and Bruno.
By the way, everyone missed Bruno, so why don't they talk about him?
I guess talking about him stressed out the family too much, even if they did miss him. So the whole town comes together to rebuild their house. It's the least they could do after everything the family's done for them. I really like the community in this town.
Also, these two are adorable.
Final reward. The very end of the story where the hero receives, well, an award. Casita is rebuilt, with Mirabel finally being seen by her family. With the family learning that they're more than their gifts, Bruno a part of the family again, and Mirabel doing something worthwhile. The magic returns, and everyone gets their gifts back. Also, the mountains don't fix themselves, so it's easier for people to find the Encanto. The end. So that was Mirabel Madrigal's hero's journey. Again, I really love this movie. The animation alone was enough to move me to tears. And I will forever, shamelessly, listen to the music on repeat. I know this isn't like a review of the movie or anything. This was just to break down Mirabel and the hero's journey template. I hope you liked this first episode of A Hero's Road Trip. I have plenty more in the future, and let me know if there's a character you'd like me to pick apart next. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and until then, I'll be in the fandom zone. Bye!